Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we will be going over the Templar tank for update 31, the Waking Flame DLC. The playstyle of a Templar tank is quite different compared to any of the other tanks within the game. As some of you may know, as Templars you do lack some abilities within the class that can make playing a tank easier, like able to immobilize a group of adds, or even a burst heal that is based off of our max health. Since we know these are some problems that the Templars have, when building the Templar tank, I looked at how can we improve those problems and make them better. Since Templars lack a burst heal that is scaled with our max health, we can improve our healing by applying more healing over time. Since they also lack immobilizing a group of adds, we looked for sets or skills to help with our crowd control issue there. So if you would like to learn more about this healing over time, add controlling, debuffing tank, I will be going over the stats on the build, what skills I like to use, what kind of passives are used on the build, what kind of gear makes this build tick, and last, what is the CP setup for my level. All of this is coming up next. So jumping into it, starting off in our character stats. Our max magicka is sitting at 19,400 with max health at 43,100 with max stam sitting at 28,900. Magicka health and stam recovery can go up by popping our potion here, with our max magicka recovery at 1,400, health recovery sitting at 599, and stam recovery at 809. For resistance can also go up by placing our rune focus on the ground here. With on our sword and board bar, our spell resistance go up to 28,300 with physical resistance at 27,600 at base value. On the back bar though, our resistance do drop down to 26,700 and physical resistance down to 26,000. So in order to get our resistance up higher for a short duration, we go on our front bar, attack our enemy here, and our spell resistance can go up to 35,900 and physical resistance at 35,200. Again, let's show that off here. I guess up to 36,300. Now for attributes on the build, I put 64 points into health because we do have some abilities on our skill line that is actually based off our max health, and the more health we have, the stronger those abilities would be. So that's why we have 64 points into health, just to give us a lot of health in the build. Again, you don't have to put all 64 points into health. If you feel like your magicka is lacking, you can put more points into magicka to buff that up. If you really want to push your stam to 30k, you could do that too there, since we are fairly close there as well. But I like having a lot more health, making myself a little bit easier to survive. Again, like I said, we do have some skills that are based off max health, so that helps it more too with more health that we have. For the Mundus Stone on this, we are running the boon on that one, just to increase our max health. Again, just more health we have, the stronger those abilities will be that are based off of max health there. You can switch this to other ones if you feel like you need more magicka recovery, then we can change that to more magicka recovery as well. Now, going over into the skills that we are running. Before we talk about every single skill, I just want to let you know you do not have to have this in the order that I have it. You don't have to have, let's say, the Radiant Ward as your X button. You can put it as B, you can put it as your right bumper, left bumper, wherever. Just kind of put it where it feels comfortable to you. This is where I feel comfortable with my ability, so that's why it's set up the way it is. And on top of it, there are also sometimes reasons why we have certain abilities on certain bars. So do pay attention when we do go over that. So we're going to start off with our first ability. Our first ability is found down into the Adric Spear skill line. It is the 5th ability to unlock. Starts off as Sun Shield. We morphed it to Radiant Ward. This is 5 meters around us that lasts for 6 seconds. That gives us a 12,900 damage shield for those 6 seconds, and this ability is scaled off our max health. Again, like earlier, like I said, that's why our health is high, because the higher our health, this ability will get stronger. The lower our health, the weaker this shield will be. On top of it, when you activate this ability, nearby enemies will take 3,600 magicka damage, and for each enemy hit, the shield strength is increased by 9%, so the more enemies we have, the stronger our shield will be, so the better it is for us when we stack adds together. Next ability we have is down in the one-handed shield skill line. It is the second ability to unlock. Starts off as low slash, we then morphed it to deep slash for 5 meters with 6 or up to 5 meters with a 6 meter radius that will deal 4,300 physical damage to us or to nearby enemies, I mean, in the area of 6 meters. The nice part about this is it will reduce the movement speed of all those enemies hit by 30% for 4 seconds. So this is kind of a slow move ability to reduce the movement speed of enemies to help kind of keep them grouped together a little bit better. On top of it, enemies that are affected by this will also get minor mate applied to them, which reduces their damage done by 5% for 12 seconds, which is a really nice thing, especially to help keep our DPS and healer alive, because the enemies will now do less damage to them, especially if you're not focusing everybody all the time. So that definitely helps with that. Next ability we have is all the way down into the Fighters Guild skill line. It is the first ability to unlock. Starts off as Silver Bolt. We then morph it to Silver Leash. We can pull an enemy up to 22 meters away from us. That will deal 3,500 physical damage and also reduce their movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds. As a Templar, we lack a pull ability like a Dragon Knight who has like chains, or even like a Warden who has Frozen Gate. So in order to get adds to us, we actually have to use a Silver Leash to kind of pull them to us. Again, you could probably use a skill if you really wanted to, or a set out there to actually do a pull, but I tend to like using Silver Leash. It's kind of a little bit nicer, and I like to fire it off. Yes, the stamp cost can get overburdened, but we do have a fairly good stamp pool to be able to pull adds to us. Now, next ability we have is a flex spot, per se. The one that I'm currently using is in the Dawn's Wrath skill line. It is the fourth ability to unlock. Starts off as Eclipse. We then morph it to Living Dark. This will give us a sphere around us for 6 seconds. I know the duration says 4, but with some passives we have, we increase the duration by 2 seconds. Since it's in there, this will protect us. And what this does is anytime an enemy uses a direct damage attack against us, the sphere lashes back, reducing the movement speed of the enemy by 60% for 3 seconds. So we're kind of stacking a bunch of like reduced movement speed, because this is what Templars really have in their arsenal. We don't really have anything to like stun or fear them or even immobilize them within the class. So this is kind of something we use to help keep things closer together. Especially if you taunt a bunch of enemies are going to be focused on you anyway, so they're going to reduce their movement speed and not move as much for 3 seconds. On top of it, when they do hit us, we heal for 2,800 health. This can go really long ways because we're kind of adding some healing over time on this build. And this is kind of our one way of doing it, so that way as we take damage, we kind of get health back. It almost acts like a Battalion Defender set. Whenever you block, you're getting health. Granted, we're not healing other people, but we're keeping ourselves alive, which is very important as a tank. And the thing is, this can occur every half a second, and this is scaled off of our spell damage or max health, whichever one's results in a stronger heal, and it would be health because we got a ton of health and not so much of spell damage. Another thing you could use here if you really want to crowd control things is down in the Fighters Guild here. With the second ability to unlock, starts off as Circle of Protection. We then will want to morph it to Turn Evil, because this will last for 20 seconds, which gives us minor protection and minor endurance, so reduce the damage we take by 5%, which is really, really nice as a tank. And it also increases our stam recovery by 15%, which if we're blocking, we're not getting that stam back, so just be aware of that. But the thing is, upon activating, enemies are feared. And I know it says 2 seconds, but if we actually get this all the way upgraded, it's actually for 5 seconds, as shown there. So that's another good one we could use there. We could also use another skill in the Restoring Light skill line. It would be the third ability to unlock, starts off as Restoring Aura. We then morph it to Repentance. You could use the other morph if you really wanted to, but this one creates a meter of 12 meters around you that heals us and our allies for 3,000 health and restores 3,000 stam for each corpse nearby that we kind of consume. But the main reason we kind of wanted to do this is while slotted, we gain minor fortitude, minor endurance, and minor intellect, increasing our health, stam, and magic recovery by 15%. So we keep our recoveries. If there is a dead corpse from the ad pull, we use this to get some health back and some stam back as well. And the health does go out to allies. The stam is only just for us alone. Just keep that in mind. Okay, next ability we have is down in the one-handed shield skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Puncture. We then morph it to Pierce Armor. This will be our main taunt, and this is the main taunt we want to use. For reasons is we'll deal 2,900 physical damage and taunt enemies to attack us for 15 seconds, but we use this mostly because we will inflict minor breach and major breach on an enemy, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 2,900 for the minor breach. Major breach is for 5,900 for 15 seconds, and that would be both of them. The main reason we want to use this is because in vet dungeons, every enemy has 18,200 physical and spell resistance. Now, the lower you get that enemy's resistance, the stronger your DPS are going to hit. So this in total, we're just going to round the numbers up. 2,900, we'll call that 3,000. And 5,900, we'll call that 6,000. So 9,000 total. So we about near cut the enemy's resistance in half with this ability. So make sure this is what we keep up all the time on the boss with Pierce Armor to the best of our ability, because our DPS will hit a lot harder with this taunt. Now for ultimate on this bar, I went with Shield Wall, morphed it to Spell Wall for a low cost of 121 ultimate, because this one will automatically block all attacks at no cost and reflect all projectiles cast at us for 7 seconds. I know a lot of people like using the other morph, but I prefer this one over that one because we're blocking everything. The other morph just kind of reduces the cost of our abilities, which we already got a decently low cost on those abilities as is. This kind of makes us immune to everything for 7 seconds, so gives us a chance to, if we need to pick up an ally during this time period, we can pick up an ally in 7 seconds, because we do have a res speed on this build a little bit in our passives since we are Templar, but we'll kind of go over those later. If you don't want to use Spell Wall, we can use other ones. We could use things like, here we go. We could use skills like in our Restoring Light skill line. We could do Rite of Passage, morph it to Remembrance. That's the one I like. You could use the other one if you want to, but this one will heal us and nearby allies for 6,900 health every 1 second for 4 seconds. Nice part about this is we get major protection, reducing our damage taken by 10% for 10 seconds. Now, the key thing is we cannot move while channeling this, but we do gain immunity to all disabling effects for it. You could, if you really want to, actually roll dodge while channeling this, but that's the thing. When you roll dodge, you will no longer be healing people, but you still keep your major protection for 10 seconds, even, or because this only lasts for 4 seconds, so you got 6 seconds after you heal everybody with major protection. You could also use the Dawn's Wrath skill line ability. It starts off as Nova. I morphed it to Solar Disturbance. It deals some magic damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. But the nice thing is this does apply major main to them for anybody in the area for 12 seconds and reduces their damage down by 10%, which is a really, really nice thing. On top of it, allies can use a synergy off of this to get some resources back and deal a little bit more damage to all enemies in the area and stun them for 3 seconds. Now over onto our back bar. First ability we have is down into the Restoring Light skill line. It's the fourth ability to unlock. Starts off as Cleansing Ritual. I morphed it to Extending Ritual because this will cleanse 5 harmful effects from ourselves, which is really nice. On top of it, we will be healing us and nearby allies within the 12-meter radius. 1,800 health every 2 seconds for 24 seconds. So we'll get 12 ticks of this because half of 24, 2 divided by 24 is 12. So every 2 seconds we get a little bit of about almost a 2k health burst. Nice part about this also is allies can use it. It is a synergy, which will purify synergy, will cleanse all harmful effects from them and heal them for 4,600 health, which is a really nice thing for them to kind of get a nice little burst heal a little bit. Not really strong, but it does go a long ways. Next ability we have is down into the Destruction Staff skill line. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Wall of Elements. I morphed it to Elemental Blockade. This is an 18 by 12 meter area, so it's 12 meters wide by 18 meters deep, kind of like a rectangle shape in front of you. That will last for 11 seconds. That will deal 623 magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Now, we are using an ice staff on this, so this will be a blockade of frost. So what that says here is we will also apply a frost safeguard for 6 seconds to us and nearby allies that absorb up to 11,300 damage from projectiles. So projectiles meaning any abilities that a mage casts at us or when archers shoot arrows at us. It'll block only those projectiles up to that much amount of damage. Melee fighters, they'll cut through it. They won't hit the damage shield because the damage shield's only meant for projectiles. Just keep that in mind. Now the nice thing about this ability too, when we use it, if we get an enemy chilled, they'll become frozen and immobilized for 4 seconds. So this is kind of another way that we can kind of CC or crowd control enemies too as well. So this is kind of our way of immobilizing like a Dragon Knight's talons, or even like a Warden's gripping shards that they have to immobilize enemies. This is our way of getting them immobilized. Now, next ability we have is all the way down into the Assault skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Vigor. We then morphed it to Resolving Vigor, because this will let loose a battle cry that will initially heal ourselves with Resolve and heal for 12,200 health over 4 seconds. Now, I went with this morph instead of the other one is because I wanted something a little bit faster of a tick. If you do the other one, it's kind of a slow tick over time, and you could heal allies with it, but I was mostly looking at what was the fast tick and heal ourselves. I know some of you are going to be asking, well, why don't you use as a self-heal, like an oh snap, we're going to die, why don't we use the skill up into our Restoring Light skill line that starts off as Rush Ceremony. Now, the reason we don't use this is because one of the sets we are wearing actually calls us to cast an Assault skill line. On top of it too, Rush Ceremony it's a cone target, so it's starting from us in a pie shape going out 28 meters. We could heal ourselves or an ally. Now, especially if we kind of need that burst heal, like we really need a heal right away. The problem with it is if the other target that's in that cone shape that we're looking at is in it and they got lower health than us, chances are we're going to heal them instead of heal us. And so that gives us a good chance that we could actually die. And selfishly thinking, we kind of want to make sure that we stay up. So that's why we kind of went with the Resolving Vigor route instead of the Rush Ceremony with either the Honor the Dead or Breath of Life. So next ability we have is in the Restoring Light skill line. It is the 5th ability to unlock, starts off as Rune Focus. We then morph it to Restoring Focus. This creates a rune on the ground that gives us major resolve for 20 seconds, increasing our physical and spell resistance by 5,900. And we also restore 242 stam every 1 second over the duration. So that doesn't mean that we actually have to stand in it. We could actually stand off to the side and we'll actually get some stam back. Let's see if we could show this. We're going to lower our stam a bit. And if we hold block, as you can see, it's still going up while holding block. for the duration of our rune focus being on the ground. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to actually stand in it. You can actually be out of it and still get stand back. Now, the nice part about why you probably would want to stand in it is the reason we stand in it is because the rune will actually heal us for 2,600 health every 1 second. And that is scaled off our max health. So more max health we have, the stronger the heal is for that. So make sure we kind of stand in our rune so we get health, we get our resistance, make sure to keep casting this stuff because it does help a lot. Next ability we have is all the way down into our Undaunted skill line. It is the third ability to unlock. Starts off as Inner Fire. We then morph it to Inner Rage. This is a taunt. It's a ranged taunt up to 28 meters that will deal 2,300 magical damage and taunt enemies to attack us for 15 seconds. Now, a ranged ally may use synergy on the target that we have, that we picked, to use a radiant synergy, dealing 5,500 magic damage to them over 3 seconds, and then an additional 5,500 magic damage to them and other nearby enemies. It's kind of a nice thing because we're allowing our allies to have a bunch of different ways to use synergies on this build with our Inner Rage. We also got our Extended Ritual as well. And if we use other abilities, let's say Nova on this, then there's another way to give them synergies. So, then for the ultimate on this bar, we are down in the Assault skill line. Starts off as Warhorn, we then morph it to Aggressive Warhorn. This will increase our group's max magicka and max stam by 10% for 30 seconds, so that allows them to actually DPS a lot more for a longer duration because they now have more resources to do so. But the main reason we want to use this is allies will gain major force, increasing their critical damage done by 20% for 10 seconds. So if they are a crit build, the damage that they're going to do will be a lot stronger. So this is what we use to kind of help burn down with ads and stuff like that. Highly recommend to use this. If you don't have it, like I said, you can use some of those other ultimates that we have listed here as well. Now going over the passives, we're going to start all the way at the top like we always do. Again, if we're going over the passives, I'm just going over the key passives here that way maybe help, passives that will help you the most, what we're going to try to go through. I still highly recommend you go through and read all these passives that are on the Templar, because some of them could help you, but we're just not going over them just to kind of keep the video kind of shorter. So in the Adriatic Spear skill line, first one we'll start with is Spear Wall. This one gives us minor protection for 6 seconds whenever we cast an ability within the skill line, which is really nice, which reduces our damage taken by 5%. So this comes off of our Radiant Warrior. So whenever we cast our damage shield, we actually get minor protection for the duration of it. So whenever our Radiant Ward goes off, make sure to recast it just to get our minor protection up again. Next we have is Balanced Warrior. This one's a really nice one. This one gives us weapon and spell damage by 6%, which is kind of a nice thing to kind of keep with our damage, but we really mostly want it for the physical and spell resistance here that we gain from it. Now over into the Dawn's Wrath skill line, we're going to start with Prism. Whenever we cast a Dawn's Wrath ability within this skill line, it gives us 3 ultimate, which can occur every 6 seconds, which is a really nice thing. And that's kind of why we use kind of Living Dark, because it does last for 6 seconds. So when you know your Living Dark sphere is gone, you can cast it again. You're going to get your 3 ultimate there. Next we have Illuminate, which whenever we cast a Dawn Wrath ability, we grant minor sorcery to us and group members for 20 seconds, which increases spell damage by 10%. So that's kind of why we want to cast this. That way, especially in magicka-based DPS groups, because this will definitely help out the magicka-based DPS, even like healers and stuff like that too. So if you got like 2 magicka DPS and a healer, it's definitely really nice to be casting a Dawn's Wrath ability. Now, the reason why I said it was also a flex is because if you do have a another Templar within a group that is running, let's say, a Dawn's Wrath skill line, then they kind of cover that thing too, so that way we can then go over into, let's say, the Turn Evil, or even into our Repentance here if we really wanted to. Now we're going to go over into the Restoring Light passive that we want. The one that we are going to start with is Mending. This increases the healing effects from our Restoring Light abilities up to 12% in the severity of the target's wound. So the lower their health, the more we're going to end up healing for. So that's kind of using like our Restoring Focus here, our Extended Ritual, or like I said, if you use a Rush Ceremony, either more for that too. Will definitely help with the mending. Next we got is Sacred Ground, which whenever we're standing in our Cleansing Ritual, Rune Focus, or Rite of Passage, and since we are running a Rune Focus and our Cleansing Ritual is this guy, we'll actually get Minor Mending, which increases our healing done by 8%. Even when leaving it, we get an additional 4 seconds of it. But the really nice added bonus here is there at the bottom, we also increase the amount of damage we can block by 10% for the duration. So our especially in our Extended Ritual, this one will last us for 18 or for 24 seconds. So for 24 seconds, we actually can block 10% more damage, which is really, really nice. Now we're going to go into our one-handed shield skill line. The one that we have here is Fortress, which, yes, it reduces the cost of our one-handed shield ability by 15%, which is really nice, but we really like it for the reduced cost of our blocking by 36%. Sword and Board, this, you know, we get a little bit of weapon and spell damage, which is kind of nice, but the amount of damage we can block is by 20%. So reduce the cost of blocking by 36%. We can block more with this one. And then Deflective Bolt here increases the amount of damage we can block from projectiles and ranged attacks, so from mages and archers, and this does stack with our Sword and Board. So in total, from like ranged and mages, we block about like 34% more damage against those targets alone. Then over into the Destructive Staff skill line. I know I have Trifocus blocked out here. That's not there. The reason why is because if we are using an Ice Staff, if we do have an Ice Staff equipped and blocking with it, it costs Magicka instead of Stam. And since I got a lot of Stam, I figured it was better to not equip this, so that way I can burn up some of that Stam. That way I can keep my Magicka abilities going off, since I got quite a bit, especially our damage shields Magicka based. Our Living Dark is Magicka based. A couple of our other abilities are Magicka. But if you want to kind of balance your abilities out, you can do that. Put points into this and then balance out your Magicka and Stam. That's the way to kind of do it. But what we're mostly looking for in this one is the Elemental Force, which increases the chance to apply status effect by 100%, because an Ice Staff, when we have an Ice Staff equipped, we can get people chilled, so especially in our Elemental Blockade, they'll get immobilized, makes it easier for grouping ads. But we can also apply Minor Brittle, which is really, really nice, because that increases the amount of critical damage that target takes by 10%, so that's why we kind of want Elemental Force here. Now for armor, we're going to start with the light armor. And for this, pretty much light armor, what it does for us is it gives us more Magicka recovery. We reduce the cost of our Magicka ability. There's spell critical in here. There's spell penetration, along with other bonuses and penalties for wearing light armor. Here's some penalties in here. Here's some bonuses as well. Now for medium armor, in the medium armor, a lot of these passives here, what they do is they give us like more Stam recovery, reduce the cost of Stam. There's a, ability weapon, reduce the cost of Stam abilities, weapon critical, weapon damage, and other bonuses. There's also Sneak here, but there is no penalties for wearing medium armor, which is kind of nice. Then over into heavy armor. What heavy armor will give us is more resistance. There are things like more health recovery, resources restored whenever we take damage, max health, along with other bonuses and penalties along with wearing heavy armor. Here's some penalties and here's some bonuses. Now what we got here is I like something in soul magic with soul summon, just to allows us to revive once every hour without spending a soul gem, which is kind of nice, saves us some soul gems for other things. In the Fighters Guild, we have intimidating presence, just to allow us to intimidate NPCs requesting, but also reduce the stamina cost of our Fighter Guild ability, since we are using Silver Leash, and if we end up using Turn Evil that way, it's a lot lower for cost. We do got Slayer, which increases our weapon's spell damage for having Silver Leash slotted. We have Banish the Wicked, generate 3 ultimate whenever we kill an enemy. This is on the off chance that we do, which is kind of nice, just give us a little bit more ulti coming in. Mage's Guild, just Persuasive Will here, just for questing purposes alone. In the Undaunted, we have Undaunted Command, which whenever we activate a synergy from anybody, we restore 4% of our max health, stamina, magicka. So currently on this guy, I would restore 1,700 health, 1,100 stam, and 776 magicka. Then Undaunted Metal allows us to increase our max health, stam, and magicka by 2% per type of armor worm. So since we are wearing at least 1 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, we get a 6% bonus. If we were, let's say, wearing 6 heavy and 1 medium, then we'd only get 4%. If it was all 7 heavy, then it would only be 2% there. In the Assault, we have Continuous Attack. This is just to gain Major Gallop. Those that don't know, just to increase our mode speed, just to allow us to move faster while we're on our horse for questing mostly, since we are PVE and just mostly in dungeons and stuff. For the race on this, I went with the Imperial. It doesn't mean that you have to go with the Imperial. Just keep in mind, if you go with a different race, your stats may look different than mine because of what the Imperial gives for skills and passives. But if you want to, I would highly recommend Nord. Nord's a good one if you want more resistances. I'd go Argonian if you want a nice little, whenever you pop a potion, you get a ton of resources back. There's other classes out there. You can use any race that you really want to. It's kind of free to use however you guys want to, type of thing. You don't have to use the Imperial, Nord, and Argonian. Those are just what typically a lot of people like to run on their tanks. And I like to run Imperial on this type of tank just because with Tough, we increase our max health by 2,000, so it's nice to have a lot of health on the build. We got Imperial Metal, which increases our max stam by 2,000, which is one of our major resources while blocking. And then we have Red Diamond, which reduces cost of all of our abilities by 6%, so that also means ultimate cost also gets way lower as well. As we also have, I forgot to mention, in previous passives, I'll go talk about that one. In the Dawn's Wrath, we have Restoring Spirit, which reduces health, magic, and stam, and ultimate cost of our ability 5% with the Imperial. So in total, we have about 11% reduced cost to our health, magic, stam, and ultimate abilities. So making sustaining a little bit easier on a Templar as well is what we like. Now we have Alchemy, which the most important passive in the game, in my opinion, is Medicinal Use. Whenever we use a potion, results of the effects last 30% longer. So what that means is, whenever we pop potions, let's say if it gives us, increases our magicka recovery, our magicka recovery is going to last a lot longer on there. At base value, your potions only last, the buffs that are on it only last 36 seconds. With a global cooldown of 45 seconds, so that means you got 9 seconds of downtime before you can pop another potion. With Medicinal Use, your potions last for 47 seconds, still with the cooldown at 45, so you got 2 second kind of buff in between that you can pop a potion to keep your recoveries up, or whatever your potions do. But highly recommend get Medicinal Use. Really strong passive in the game. Next is in Provisioning. I would highly recommend getting Gourmet, because this adds 20 minutes to the duration of any eaten food. since I am running a food on this build, if let's say you want to run a drink, then Concierge would be yours because this would add 20 minutes to the drink. But we're running food, so this is why we use Gourmet. So just keep that in mind. Food is Gourmet, Concierge is for drinks for longer, so you don't have to consume quite as much foods or drinks. Now going over the stuff we are running in gears and stuff. So starting off with food, I am using Crown Fortified Meal because we get this in daily rewards. Either that, you can use any tri-stat food is what I recommend. If you really want to, you can use Bewitched Sugar Skulls because that will give you actually more max health, max magicka, and max stam, and also give you health recovery, but you will be perfectly fine with tri-stat food because this will increase your max health by 4,400, max magicka, and max stam by 4,100 for 2.5 hours. For potions on the build, I am running the Crown Tri Restoration potions because we do get these in dailies as well. You can use tripods. I highly recommend using tripods instead of, let's say, Essence of Health, Magic, or Stam, because health right here only gives you health, this only gives you Magic, and this only gives you Stam. Things to give you all the resources and also to increase your recoveries is well needed. And it's really, really nice. So this will increase our Magicka, Stam, and health recovery by 30% for 47 seconds, and that's where medicinal use comes into play right there. And we will also, whenever we consume this, we'll restore immediately 8,500 health, 7,500 magicka, and stam. Now, for the sword and board, for my sword and board weapon, I am using the Masters set. This is from the perfected puncturing remedy set. But for enchantment on this, I went weakening enchantment just to reduce the target's weapon and spell damage by 160, because the lower we get that damage, they're not going to hit as hard, so that way it makes it a lot easier for our DPS to survive, and healers don't have to work as hard to keep everybody alive. You can use an enchantment of, let's say, restoring stam if you need stam back, or even like an enchantment to restore magicka back, or even health if you really wanted to. For trade on this, we went decisive just to increase the chance of getting one more additional ultimate, because whenever we cast an ability, we can get ultimate. Yeah, just for all the chances, even like attacking too, when we attack, we generate ultimate there too, but this just gives us a nice little chance just to get one more, just to drop ultimates a little bit better, or, you know, casting Warhorn a little bit more. Now, the perfected puncturing remedy set, you don't have to get this perfected, but it's kind of nice because a perfected item, it gives you 3% healing taken, so you get healed better on the build with that. But again, you don't need it. It's not you know, it's not a you have to do it. It's just kind of what floats the boat, and it helps you out. The nice part about this is when we deal damage with puncture, which is our main taunt ability, we will heal for 6,100 health and gain spell and physical resistance equal to the amount of healing or overhealing done for 5 seconds, and this is base of our max health, so there's more max health base stuff there. And the nice thing is this also then puts us over resistance too on the build, which is also kind of nice for 5 seconds, since at base value we're at like 28 spell and 27 physical with our rune focus. The shield comes in multi-effect enchantment, which is kind of nice, so we get max magicka, health, and stam. And we went sturdy trait just to reduce the cost of blocking. That way we can block longer, even though we got a really nice stam pool as well. Now for the staff, we are running an ice staff, and we are running the powerful assault on this one with the crusher enchantment just to help reduce the target's physical and spell resistance by 1,400, almost 500 for 5 seconds whenever this procs. We do have it charged, which increases the chance to apply the status effect, so we can apply minor brittle to an enemy a little bit better with this. If you really want to, infuse would probably be a better trade. It's just, this is kind of what I had at the time of doing this video here, so this is the way that I went with it. Now for the powerful assault set, This gives us 1100 max health, 1000 max stam, and as you can tell, it's kind of blacked out because our 5 pieces on the weapon here, but when we do have it all highlighted, we gain 124 weapon damage, which is okay. But nice reason we mostly use this is when casting an assault ability while in combat. Us and up to 5 group members within 10 meters gain 296 weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds. This can stack with, let's say, Yolocrins with minor and major courage, because this is not a minor or major buff. So this does stack with those, so we kind of don't overlap other people. So let's say if someone using like Magma Incarnate or Spell Power Cure, this setup will work perfect for buffing that as well. And that is also why, like for skill wise, that's why we have our Resolving Vigor on the back, is because we are using Powerful Assault on the back bar. And that's why we don't have it on the front bar, is because our Puncture Remedy set is on there, and we don't have our 5 piece of Powerful Assault. Now over to body pieces. For the monster helm, we are using Celestrax. We have max stam enchantments on our bigger pieces, with Magicka enchantment on all of our smaller pieces, which would be shoulder, waist, hands, and feet. Legs and chest and head will be max stam enchantment. With chest and legs, it will be a reinforced trait for more resistance. Head, we want to infuse just to get a little bit more out of it, and since it is a bigger piece. And then with shoulders, waist, hands, and feet, we want sturdy just to reduce the cost of blocking a little bit more. But anyways, for Celestrax set, this for 1 piece we get max stam, so that more stam for more blocking. But we mostly use this is when we deal damage, we create an earthquake under the enemy that erupts after a second and a half, dealing 2,500 physical damage to all enemies within 4 meters, which is, it's okay. We're not really looking for the damage on this. What we are looking for is the stunning of the enemy for 3 seconds after the fact. So just keep in mind, the first enemy you hit, when this is ready to go, any enemy around that target in 4 meters around that target will be stunned for 3 seconds if they can be stunned. Some will have CC immunity, so they won't drop to the floor, but if they're not, they will. And this effect can occur once every 6 seconds, and the damage here is based off of our weapon or spell damage. So again, like I said, it's not a max health. We're not really care for the damage. It's more so for crowd controlling and helping us out there. Now for the next piece of armor we are running is called Bonnie's. With Bonnie's Torment set, this gives us 4% healing taken. 3 pieces, it gives us a max health. 4 pieces, it gives us max stam. And for the 5 piece bonus is when we taunt a nearby enemy, we tether to them for 15 seconds. While tether, we will apply Major Main to the enemy, reducing their damage down by 10%. So that's really, really nice to help keep our, reduce the damage that the DPS take, what we take, making it a lot easier of a job for a healer to keep us alive, because they don't have to work as hard and they don't have to, constantly keep spamming heals to keep us alive, because we're not taking as much damage anymore from this. We also gain, us personally, we gain Major Vitality, which I apologize for that. Which we gain Major Vitality, increasing our healing received by 16%. So that makes our heals that even that we cast, when we cast them and we get a health received from it, they tend to be a lot stronger too. So this allows us to keep us up as well. Now, the tether can break if the enemy does move 8 meters away from us. So we got to keep that in mind. We got to try to stay close to our enemies, or if a boss fight, the enemy jumps a lot, the set's not going to really work the best if the enemy jumps a lot. But when it does, it's a really, really nice thing to have. And this effect from this can occur once every 15 seconds. So it's like whenever we need to taunt, this is a nice thing to run. So then over to our accessories. These will be from the Powerful Assault skill or set. And for we did magic recovery on all 3 pieces. These do come in the standard robust trait, and we just kind of left them in the robust trait. If you want to reconstruct it, put it in the healthy to get more health, or any other trait that you guys kind of want, but I kind of left it as robust. Nice having a really big stamp pool on the build. Now over into the champion point system. I'm not going to really worry too much about the green tree. The only thing I can say is what's really nice is to have steadfast enchantment, just to have our 50% chance not to consume a charge when active, pretty much on our enchantments that we have for the weapons there. Treasure hunter, increasing the quality of items we find in charger chests is always nice. A really nice thing is rationer, increase the duration of any food or drink that we have per stage, so this is up to 30 minutes all the way maxed out. And liquid efficiency, whenever we use a potion or poison, we have a 10% chance not to consume it, which is always really nice. Now the blue tree is where a lot of our resistances are. We got 20 points in here for more max stam, 20 here for more max magicka, 20 points into bless, just increase our healing done, so we have stronger heal over times a little bit. And here there's a lot of things here. We got quick recovery, increasing our healing taken. Preparation, reduce our damage taken by non-players, so perfect for PVE by 10%. A 2% damage reduction to any magic of flame, frost, or shock damage. This one's a 2% damage reduction for any physical poison, disease, or bleed damage. And then for Slotables, here we have Duelist rebuff, which reduces the damage taken by single target attacks by 10% all the way up. This enduring resolve and reduce our damage taken from damage over time attacks by 10%. We have Unassailable, reduce the damage taken by area of effects by 2%, or by 10% in total. And then I also like Bulwark, just because we have a shield and frost staff equipped. This increases our spell and physical resistance. I know some of you are like, well, you hit over cap, but like I said, you're only over cap for 5 seconds, and after the 5 seconds you're under cap for resistance. You're kind of sitting at the sweet spot. But I do get it if some people actually want to put in 50 points into Ironclad and have this one slotted instead of Bulwark, just to reduce the damage taken by direct damage attacks by 10%. And then here we just kind of went with the magicka route. As of right now, don't have enough champion points yet, but when we do, we'll end up going down this side as well. But if you're at the level that I am, I recommend doing this route. Just increase the chance of 60% chance increase to apply the magical status effect and affect our magic of flame, frost, and shock damage, just because we really want to see if we can apply that minor brittle with our ice staff is what we're really going after, because that definitely does help a lot of our DPS out. Now in the red tree here, we got 50 points into bonus vitality to give us 1,400 max health. We got 4-5 for 1,700 armor. We got rejuvenate just to have 90 more points in health, magic, and stam recovery. We also then have expert evasion, just because whenever we use a roll dodge, it's free for us for the first time, and if we wait 30 seconds we can roll dodge again at no cost, which is kind of nice. Just to kind of, again, we do have a lot of stand, but it's just kind of nice not to use it. That way we can keep more of it for blocking and blocking longer. We got tumbling, reduce the cost of roll dodge. We have defiance, reduce the cost of break free. We do have magic tenacity, just to reduce the duration of elemental status effect on us by 25%. We do have Hero's Vigor for more max health. We do have Hasty here just to be able to increase our sprint speed bonus. Really good one to get. Make sure you want to get is Fortification, just increase the amount of damage you can block by 4% all the way up here. Tireless Guardian, reduce cost of block. And then I know too, a lot of people say you want to go into this tree, and a lot of people highly recommend bracing anchors. While in combat, we increase the amount of damage we can block by 4% per stage, but reduce the cost of our movement speed by 60% at all stages. So if this is out of 50 points, if we use all 50 points, we'll have a 20% block mitigation, but our movement speed will still be at you know, reduce our movement speed by 16% no matter what level it's at. So there you'll have it for the Templar tank for the Waking Flame DLC update 31. Thank you all for watching and staying tuned. If you liked the video, make sure to hit thumbs up, subscribe if you liked it. If you want to stay up to date with any of my other content, make sure to smash that notification bell so that way you guys get notified when I make a new video. You can also follow me over on Twitch. I do stream there pretty regularly. I kind of been a little away from that as of right now, but hopefully get back into it. If you have any questions about the build here, you can leave it down in the comment section below, or you can message me over at Twitter. So thank you all so much, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video or in game.